Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Biblio Fitness. Hope everyone's had a great day and made some fantastic gains. As you can probably hear, I'm a bit under the weather. I hanged out with a couple friends this past weekend, and I guess this is what I get. But whatever it is, what it is. I still went to the gym yesterday, and I pushed myself pretty hard. I didn't do any widowmakers on my leg press because there was no way I was going to be able to get all the way to 20 with the congestion that I am dealing with at this present time. But feels good, man. Feels I don't know, for a while. Is that I don't know where I am right now. I like now, not literally, but in regards to working out and stuff and fitness, as I don't have that same motivation and drive as like wanting to dive into it as much as I possibly can and watch people work out all the time and stuff like that. Like, you know how we all do. A bunch of us meatheads, we watch Ronnie Coleman videos, or Phil Heath, or mock videos that they have, like movies of Jay Cutler and Flex Wheeler and a bunch of other legends, working out. And that's how we get into a Machiavelli motivation or Nicandro motivation. But it's just not there anymore. I'd rather really read and listen to stuff about like philosophy, international relations. So the time that I place upon fitness is not as high as it used to be. Even though I'm still going to be working out, I've worked damn hard to get to where I am now, and I'm not going to stop anytime soon. I really do believe I think it's very important to keep in mind in this extremely effeminized world that as a man, I feel like it is imperative for you to be physically imposing, for people to harbor some trepidation before they ever want to push it or push beyond the limit or push the line with you when they see you, and they're like, okay, this motherfucker can lift some weights or some shit like that. Because I don't want to only be intellectually dominating. I also want to be physically dominating. Have both vectors covered for. Instead of just focusing in on one, which I understand, but yeah. So I was reading an ego on its own, and I made a video about it, like a couple. But I'm like gonna stop that and actually go through all of Epictetus' discourses, stoicism. As I read more Epictetus, I like Meditations by Marcus Aurelius, but those are self-annotations and they become quite repetitive. Like Epictetus can become quite repetitive because there's just not a lot to work with in regards to practical morality, that is practiced by Stoics and such. But it's far more elaborate than someone like a Marcus Aurelius, where it feels like it's the same thing over and over again, because they are basically affirmations that he writes or says to himself in the mornings and evenings, with the insurmountable pressure that must be attached to being the most powerful man in the world. The Roman emperor. Holy shit! The Augustus of Rome. It's astounding, right? We never, we are never, we never can get full insights into the man, into what insecurities are harboring beneath the mantle of ultimate supreme power. So, but yeah, stoicism. I want to talk about it because um, it really does run contrary to how we process the world and how we are expected to react to the world. In this, as I'm not the only one, but us men that have become increasingly emasculated, that we are taught that we have to wear our emotions on our sleeves and be passionate and let everyone know what my dreams and what everything is. Um, and how, when we're children, when we're teenagers, we think it's bravado, we think it's macho to react violently to the slightest notion of an insult. We get into fights for someone stepping on our shoes, or someone looking at us the wrong way, or someone pushing us, or someone calling us a bitch. Such trifling excuses to place yourself in that sort of position. And that I believe that is something to do with being raised by women, us being a generation raised by women. I was raised by a single mom, therefore she's going to teach me what helped her. How could she possibly know the virtues that are required for a man? And in this increasingly emasculated world, right, where masculine traits are considered to be, bad and evil. And I feel like they want that level of transparency with us because, when you're that open with yourself, there's nothing you're hiding. People could see you from a mile away. People could see your intentions, and that's why you see in all these dystopian futuristic fiction novels, such as 1984 and A Brave New World, where you have to be with someone at all times, right? An individual that is constantly by themselves is showing antisocial behavior. Why are you hiding? Why are you, what are you keeping to yourself that you're not showing to the community? And I love stoicism, and like I said, it runs antithetical to all of that. To keep perseverance and composure in any circumstance, because it all stems from it here, right? And even though that whole duality of mind and body is there, the providence of God is there. I don't believe in God, obviously, but it's still extremely useful. Um, um, Especially in this world where there's so much distractions, so many opportunities to slip up, to be constantly aware that it's your actions and your choices and your impressions upon these things that matter most. It's not the circumstances that dictate you, you dictate the circumstances. And to be constantly, to always try to keep oneself calm, composed, and realizing that it's you, it's your opinion. The reason that you're angry at this person because they insulted you is not because they insulted you, it's because you chose to be insulted. You know what I'm saying? He makes the analogy with that of a rock. Like, insult a rock all you want, what are you going to get out of it? The rock is not going to say anything. And what are you going to get out of it? You're going to tire your voice and you're going to quit. And you're going to be like, okay, this is just a giant waste of time. And it goes with people. Like, someone insults me and calls me a bitch, I'm not going to throw a fit about it. Because if you start looking at it logically, and that's one thing that I love about stoicism, is that it preaches, like, deduce every single action in a very logical way, using reason. Why am I going to get mad at someone calling me a bitch? Who is this person? Right? And, like, these are questions that you must ask, right? Who is this person? Do I know this person? No. Okay, that automatically should cancel any feeling of negative emotions that should harbor inside of me because of the opinions presented by a complete stranger. That's one thing I never realized. Is like, dude, we used to get mad over the opinions of someone we don't even know. And even if we did know them, they're imbeciles. Like, a lot of times I look at this person, I'm like, you're an idiot. Look how the way you live. Look at what you deem to be important. Look at where your interests lie. Look at where your attention is focused on. And using all that information that those questions provide, should I take you seriously? Who are you to call anybody an idiot? Who are you to call anybody a bitch? It's like when you go out to the clubs and people throw a fit because some drug dude try to act all macho. It's like, just let the fucking imbecile keep doing whatever it is they want to do. Like, there's so many circumstances that we place ourselves in because we think, it's the opposite. And that's what I love about stoicism, is that it's not just knowing this is good, this is bad, this is right, this is wrong, this is justice, this is evil, whatever words you want to throw. But how can we place consistent definitions in all these words across multiple spectrums and across multiple instances, right? Because what's good for us one day, it's not good for us the next day. And the same instance can happen in one thing. The same thing can happen in two different instances in two different moments of life, and we'll consider one to be good and one to be evil. We're very inconsistent with these definitions and these preconceptions that we like to throw out there, right? Everybody wants to believe they have a notion or they have a innate understanding of what it means to be a good person, or what it means to be a bad person, or what it means to be whatever other words you want to throw. But how many of us actually seek wisdom? How many of us actually say, okay, but what is good? Is it good just be based on me, and what is good for me, that is good? Like, we can universalize this concept a little more so we don't have to keep running into discrepancies or arguments as because we can't get to an agreement. Epictetus is fantastic. It's like, why complain? Hell is, like he says, like, if I must die, must I die bawling and groaning too? We all gotta die sometime. What's the big deal about it? To keep one's dignity, not to be feathered, not to be attached to material wealth, not to be attached to family, not to be attached to friends, not to be attached to places in which we were born, but focus on us, focus on the mind, focus on the soul, focus, okay, how can I build a foundational home for myself so I could take on the world? And, that's what I love about someone like Epictetus, is that power is always residing within him. You can't take it away from him. At the end of the day, he's like, I'm the one that chooses how I feel. I'm the one that chooses how I react. I'm the one that chooses how to act. It doesn't matter if people want to chain me up or send me to exile. I'm going to do whatever it is that I need to do. And he always brings the example of Socrates, right, who went on trial for supposedly corrupting the youth with the introduction of foreign gods and such. And he was writing hymns in jail. He's like, they attach my body, but they can't take my life, my soul. Approaching suicide and death with the greatest of dignity. Not running and groaning and bitching and crying and regretting everything that you've done, and being one with choices and being one with what got you there, and not scolding yourself or not having scorn towards yourself or the gods or whatever for the situation that now you find yourself in. You have no control over such things. We never have control over outside events. We don't have control what's in here, right? And that's where notions of good and evil should reside, not in external sources, but only within us and our choices, because that's the only thing that we can control. So it's very insightful, and like I said, it's very antithetical. And that's why many people consider people who study stoicism to be, evil, because in this world that has become so integrated with everybody, social media and all the mediums with that, like YouTube and such, we're increasingly reminded that that everyone around us is important, and how we are received by society is of the utmost importance. How society loves us, or how society views us, and what we could do so we could be more and more loved by the crowd. That's how it is nowadays, right? When we post something on Instagram or whatever, we're always in the back of our heads like, how many people are gonna like this? Or what could I filter? What can I add? What could I subtract? What could I put as a caption to get more people's attention? It's always, what are other people going to think? Or how is this going to be received by others? This is such an integral point in our processing of actions nowadays. And stoicism is like, no, dude, like, it needs to be the reverse. Those things you can't control. Those things shouldn't matter, because they have nothing to do with you. They should not be your concern. Your concern should be like, hey, you tried your best, you did your best, and whatever the fuck it is that it was. People receive it well, or people receive it not so well. It's what it is. Don't be disheartened because you receive a negative review out of it. These are other people. You shouldn't care about what other people think or do or choose to do. Uh, who knows what those people are dealing with? We we become petrified by um, these possibilities that have never existed. They haven't. They probably won't. And we overthink to the fuck out of it. I do that. I used to do that all the time, and I still do that. I'm not gonna pretend that I completely extirpated that aspect of my peasantry completely. Right? Is it's like when you want to do something, or when you think about wanting to do something, it's like, okay, but how are people gonna think, and what could happen, and what if this person said this, or what if this happens, and this and this and this and this and this. We just it just blows up, and we worry and strain over all these circumstances that have not transpired. They're still in the ether. It's only in our mind. It's only in our conscious. It's only us ourselves are wearing ourselves to death. And to keep, learn to keep everything centered, and not rely on other people. That he always, Epictetus would always, even though it's Xenophon, Arian, that's writing for him, but, Epictetus is always preaching that, you know, I lost my train of thought here, but, it's like in this world, we're always focused on, or we're told that we need to focus on how we're received by others. But with stoicism, it's the opposite, right? It's like, you don't need anybody else. Like, focus on cultivating your mind. We're focused all the time on what's the next big business move, or how can I make more money, or how can I do this and how can I do that, and we're still deep inside the same miserable human beings, where we never care to cultivate the one thing that we can control. Right? We can't control the flow of money. You can have the greatest idea, and tomorrow everything could fall on the wayside, and you're right back at zero. Health can be taken away. Family, friends, homes, status. All these things could go like the wind, and yet that's all we focus on, instead of focusing on our minds and our reason, and being able to sustain ourselves and be able to be self-reliant and have enough pride to be able to understand and always be cognizant that you are, at the end of the day, your own judge and jury. If you want to react negatively, there's no one to blame but you. But not to stress about outside forces. It's just like this utter self-reliance and this willingness or unwillingness to allow other people to dictate what it means to be happy for you, or what it means to be successful. Not to be attached to modern conceptions of what it is to be successful, right? This material, this continuous drive of material, accrual of material wealth, when, still the same crappy human being, and a lot of these so-called super rich and therefore super successful individuals that shouldn't complain about anything, they end up offing. Because, in this extremely material world, and that's definitely one of the consequences of ridding ourselves of religion, we don't think about that anymore. We don't think about in here. We're just pleasure-seeking hedonists now. And we come up with as many excuses as we like, but deep down, that's really what we are. We don't look at anything from a metaphysical view anymore. We look at it as, how is this pleasurable? How does this make me feel? Does it make me feel good? So, I'm going to go ahead and keep bringing some more stoicism, but it's great. I highly recommend, if you haven't read it already. I'm going to keep reading that on the side. Well, now on the side is because I really want to get back to Nietzsche, but I also want to like, when I have so many books to read, so little time. But I'm gonna keep reading Stoicism. Yeah, hopefully helps me out as well, and I'll keep discussing that as we go on. I want to get letters from a Stoic by Seneca and read some Zeno. Um, you know, but Epictetus is great. So that'll be all for today. I do hope you all have a great day, make some glorious gains, and that'll be all. Till next time. Peace.